Hi guys, Saki with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 3v3 match on the map Red Alert. I'm standing in the bottom right position playing as the Allies. So for those of you who don't play this map, there's sort of like a bottom and top island, and those islands are interlinked on two sides. You sort of got like a right side and a left side, and between the two islands there's like lots of narrow paths, as you see my infantry going up, and they're interlinked to many other islands. You've also got a couple of islands which aren't connected. There's one to the far right of the map and there's one to the far left, and they're just, the only way you can get to them is through the water by taking transport ships. And first of all, I'm just getting that first ore refinery out and now getting a war factory. And one of the things you want to do in this map is get control of the middle island, which I'm going into now. And the reason this island is very important to get control of is because it contains a lot of gems. It also contains some structures, as you can see here, and infantry are able to capture those structures. And you just need to make sure you have plenty of power. I'm just making sure I'm building my economy at the moment, and you can see at the moment it looks like I've got control of this structure. I've got some infantry surrounding it, and what I'm going to use is I'm just going to use my infantry guys just to, and you can see those orange infantry coming in, and what I need to make sure now is that I do protect this and keep a base here, and I'm going to build a pillbox which will help against those infantry, because pillboxes do really well against infantry. And you can see those infantry being taken out there. And for the time being, it looks like I managed to secure this middle part of the map. However, it has come up at a little price, because it means that I've had to build other buildings, and I've sort of delayed my start, like with my war factories. I probably won't get tanks out as quickly as I would have otherwise. But if I can get economy established on this middle patch, it will be well worth it. At the moment I'm low on resources, but if I'm able to get that ore refinery on that middle position, that will soon change as soon as I start to get those gems in, because gems are like twice as valuable as ore. So you get a load of gems off, and it just changes everything completely. I'm also going to start building my second war factory and get a war factory in this middle position, and that'll just give me so much more defense. And hopefully I'll be able to defend this middle part of the map. You can see I've got some 3 tanks here, so I'm going to need to take them up quite quickly. I am playing Eric on the right side, so I do expect him to go multi-MCV. So sometimes there's not as much aggression on this middle patch, because he tends to like to go for the outer island, which I'm going to look for in a little bit. But now I've got a war factory on this middle part. I'm going to start building that service depot so I can start building more MCVs. And now you can see my tanks have arrived to this middle patch here. I'm just going to take them up and maybe squash those infantry. But I've now got my service depot. And because I've got that and I've seen no aggression so far, I'm going to start building that MCV. Which I'm going to be taking to the outer island. You can just see my ore truck there getting a lot of gems. So my economy is looking good for the time being. I'm going to now get a transport ship. I'm going to get a couple of transport ships though, because what I'm going to want to do is I want to take some tanks to the outer island, because Eric generally does get there first. But if he doesn't have many tanks there, then I'll be able to just take it through force. So we're just getting 3 tanks in that one. We've got another 5 tanks there, which are ready. I'm going to put them in this other transport vessel. So hopefully we're going to be able to take that outer island, because that island is very, very important. I'm just taking all my tanks there at the moment, because I haven't seen any resistance for the time being in the middle, which makes me think he has gone for the island very early on, which he usually does. So this is the island here. Let's see what we can do. We've got our 2 transport ships here. I haven't seen anything so far. At least there was no sort of Tesla coils there. So we're on this island now, and actually this is very, very strange, because I thought it would have been on there by now, but it doesn't seem that's the case. So I've got there first. I'm going to get that ore refinery on. I'm just going to need to be careful of this middle island and make sure there's no attacks there yet. Just having a little bit of a look around as well. But it looks like I'm okay for now. And now I've got that ore refinery there, so my ore situation is going to be quite booming at the moment, because I've got 2 ore trucks on that middle patch, and I've got 1 ore truck. And there you can see Eric is now on the outer island. He's got some tanks here, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and build some turrets. But you can see he hasn't taken enough tanks. I brought 2 transport ships, Eric only brought 1, so he's had 4 heavy tanks there, and we've been able to take them out. And I think even if he had brought 2 transport ships, I think because we had the base established early, we would have been able to get some turrets on to sort of equalise those tank numbers, because obviously the 9 medium tanks is not the same as 9 heavy tanks, because those heavy tanks are much stronger. And now we see Eric on this middle island now, so we're going to have to defend here. We did manage to get some free kills on Outer Island, so at least his tank numbers won't be as great as it could have been. And now we're going to go up to this top part. You can see some of those heavy tanks, more of them start coming in. And those heavy tanks distracting me while he's setting MCV up in my starting base. So this is a very dangerous position for me at the moment. And I'm going to need to take all my tanks back. There's just no way. Because if he gets control of this part, the problem is he's just going to go onto my teammates. So I have no choice here but to sacrifice the middle. I do have the outer island, but I need to make sure that this doesn't get established. Otherwise, we are going to be in big trouble. And you can see that Tesla coil coming out now. And he's just going to pile up the war factories, pile up the Tesla coils if we let him, so everything has to come back, and we do have to stop this push if we're going to survive, have any chance in this game. You can see Red also seeing this, and we managed to get some of those buildings down, that Tesla coil going down now, and we're going to be able to get that war factory, and just, yeah, it's just all focus needs to be on this position at the moment. We managed to get that construction yard. He also had time to build an ore refinery there. So yeah, but we managed to get that down, and you can see this. It looks like this middle part's going to go down, unfortunately. But we needed to sacrifice that in order to protect our main bases. Because if he gets through my base, like in Staten Island, he's going to go into Red and Yellow's base, and they're going to lose their back base, which is then going to be sort of game over, rather than just me losing this middle island here. Where I've already taken quite a lot of value from it, because I've taken a lot of the gems from those 2 ore trucks, those 2 ore refineries that I did have. We can see another transport ship there going somewhere. I think he's just selected everything actually. I don't think it's anything big, and you can see me losing my war factories there, and you can see this heavy tank army. All I have to do now is just defend, and you can see those ore trucks having to now go back to my starting base. I'm also trying to build in some destroyers as well, just some naval support, just to help me here. You can also see that orange ore truck a bit stuck. That was the ore refinery set up in my main base. Yeah, now I'm just, I saw that ore silo. I don't think he noticed he had an ore silo left, but we'll just take that off so we don't have any Tesla coils popping up or any war factories or anything like that. And now you can see us trying to defend this point here, but orange Eric has the bigger tank numbers at the moment, and I've got my 2 war factories back up, but he's got a lot more map control now, and he'll definitely have an outer base on that first Staten Island that he has. And now I'm going to need to pull back, because you can see those heavy tank numbers are just a little bit greater than my own. And yeah, I'm just having a look at those tanks on the outer island. I don't know whether to keep them there or bring them back, because if he does bring some tanks over to that outer island and I don't have anything to defend there, it could be taken over quite easily. The thing is though, when one player gets the advantage in these types of fights, it's so hard to try and turn it around, and you can just sort of see those heavy tanks moving further and further forwards. We try to use destroyers to sort of compensate here and just swing the tide back in my favour, but those heavy tank numbers are just too great, and they keep on pushing forwards, and I'm going to need to pull back. You can see I've got medium tanks, and as I pull back, I'm going to be able to group up my medium tanks. The thing is though, there's just more and more heavy tanks joining them, and I can see him stationary a bit there, trying to push my medium tanks in, because what I want to do is I want to be able to fight with those destroyers, which are getting greater and greater in numbers, and we're just hoping we can turn this around here. But yet again, it just seems like I don't quite have the numbers, and now we can see Eric coming in with an extra MCV. And he's going to try and establish a base here and get another war factory probably, and get some more ore refineries. We can see from the map that he's got bases on the other 2 islands, and this is the island closest to home, and I think he does need this position quite a lot, and we're just going to try and take out, yeah, we're trying to take out the MCV, but unfortunately our tank numbers aren't good enough. But you can see that now Red is sending some support in, and hopefully I'm going to be able to take this out. Unfortunately though, he's being able to get an ore refinery up straight away. We'll try and take out the MCV first, and then we'll try and take out the other buildings. And now you can see that barracks there, and yeah, he's just spamming barracks at the moment. He knows if he keeps at least one structure alive, that he'll just be able to place other structures there, and he'll just be able to rebuild that ore refinery. But you can see now his army's been lost a bit, and it looks like we'll be able to take out those barracks. And just having a look there, but you can see that Cyan is coming in with some transport ships, and you can see a load of tanks now on my main base, and unfortunately I'm going to have to surrender that position and go back to my main base, because there is quite a few Cyan tanks there, and they're going to be able to wreak a bit of havoc there. Just alerting my teammates there, because you can see that those tanks are now heading to Red's base, and from what I can see, Red doesn't have that many other bases around the map. So I'm just going to be using my tanks here to try and reduce those Cyan tank numbers. And you can see Red there selling some of those war factories. At least that'll give him some funds to hopefully build some defences and build some units. Although I don't know if he's got any other war factories left. But let's see if we can sort of like destroy these medium tanks and just stop this push. You can see my tank numbers are very low at the moment, but if he keeps on destroying buildings, at least it's going to give me a chance to build up my tank numbers and sort of stop this. Unfortunately, what that means though is that Orange is going to get that base established on the island right next to mine. And now you can see that Yellow is coming in with some tanks now, just to provide a little bit of support. But those Cyan tanks do look like they are going to go down. We've got 2 tanks there on very low HP. But now you can see that Eric, the Orange army, coming from the other side. We're going to need to clear these Cyan tanks as quickly as possible and get to the other side, because we can see some important structures for Red there, like a construction yard and also a tech centre. And you can see him going for the tech centre now. The question is, can we eliminate those medium tanks? It does look like those medium tanks are going to go down. There's a bit of help there from those yellow pillboxes as well. But now we're going to have to go for the right side, because our Orange army is coming into our base. And you can just see he's got a far superior number of tanks. He's also got some infantry there to help out, and those infantry just do so much damage against buildings. When you've got a group of infantry, they just make that massive difference. Anyone who plays quick match will know if you've got a group of infantry helping take out buildings, it becomes a much easier process. And now you can see my allies seeing this army, and they're coming in to help me. You can see Yellow with those tanks against the Orange. Red's also got a few tanks in there, and it looks like I have got very little left at the moment. What I do have though is I do have this outer island, so it's not like they're going to be able to wipe me out completely. And you can see that Orange army is starting to get cleared up. There's not too much left, and I'm going to try and keep up this extra ore refinery, and it does look like it is going to survive. We can see Eric with that MCV, and he's going to try and take it and establish it, but it's on low HP, and surely it's going to go down. There's no way he's going to get that up. And indeed, it does look like it's just gone down, and now we're going to be able to go for the counter, because we can see Orange no longer has the mass of tanks anymore. They've been taken out. I've also managed to keep structures on that starting island, so I'm going to be able to build up a bit back there. I've also got some resources, and now we're going to go back on the push, and you can see Eric's tanks going down, and that those ore refineries and that base is sort of undefended. We can see he's got a lot of ore trucks there. That is a ton of ore trucks actually. So we'll have to see. We'll probably be able to take some of them down. And now we're just on the pushback. And now you can see him selling those structures up. And you can see those ore trucks now. I don't know where they're going actually. They seem to be going towards my tanks. A lot of them on low HP, because I think they're being fired on by those destroyers. And it looks like we're going to be able to destroy a lot of those and take them out. I think I can see yeah, I saw an MCV there from Cyan. So Cyan seems to be trying to take an MCV to this island. I don't know why really now, because it's been lost, and the MCV is surely going to die. Even if he did manage to get that MCV deployed, I don't know what he'd do on that island now, because there's no ore there anymore. Yeah, you can see that MCV coming through, and it's going to go down definitely. I think Cyan is focusing on other parts of the map at the moment. I'm just getting another war factory now for my starting island. Well, I think it's my only war factory now, so at least I'm going to be able to start building and producing medium tanks once again. I have lost a lot of war factories this game, and now you can see this tank army from Eric. A lot of heavy tanks there, but you can see we've got the better tank numbers because yellow's helping us out here, and those heavy tanks will definitely go down. I don't think there's any way you can win this fight. I've also got a bit of destroyer fire helping us out as well, although they are putting up a decent fight because heavy tanks are quite strong. They have a large HP and they do a bit more damage, but surely enough they do go down, and now we've been able to establish ourselves on this middle island. You can also see yellow with some of the cruisers firing on those structures, which are going to go down quite quickly, and now Eric's selling up from that middle island, and we're just going to push further and further on. Now if you look carefully at the mini-map, you might notice something, and that's any of the islands that the other team are established on. Maybe apart from the top left, there might be one island which has a little bit of ore. But you can see all the resources are dried out on our opponent's side, whereas some of the islands that we're on, so I've got some ore near my base, yellow's got some ore on that first island to the left, he's also got some ore on that outer island, which isn't connected. So we've got some resources, and the other team haven't, and that just means anything we destroy now, the other team aren't going to be able to replace because they haven't got enough ore, they haven't got the resources to do so. And you can see now I've got quite a big destroyer army coming up as well, just to give me a bit of support. We can see there is a sub-pen there, but that's not going to be able to do much. I'm not going to be too worried about that. But those destroyers are going to be able to take out some of those buildings for Orange. The thing is, Orange has no resources left, so he's not going to be able to build anything else. And we can see his tank army is now minimal. So we'll be able to take that out. We've got plenty of, we've got a few tanks in the middle, and we've also got some tanks being built at home. So quite a few twists and turns in this game. At the start, it looked like I was in a brilliant position when I got control of the middle sequence of islands with gems, and then I also got control of the outer island. At that point in the game, it looked like I was in an unbeatable position, but then Eric managed to sneak an MCV to my starting base. And that just caught me completely off guard, because I usually expect Eric to send an MCV to the starting bases, but it's usually a lot later in the game, and this was like before 6 minutes. And what happened is, because he'd lost that outer island, he still managed to get that MCV away to a transport ship. So instead of dropping his MCV off with tanks, he just dropped it off alone. So it was a lot earlier than I expected, so I wasn't expecting it. And then you could see that he managed to... I had to bring all my tanks back because there was no way I could let him get established in my starting base. Otherwise, my other allies would be in big trouble as well. So I had to bring everything back and lost that middle island. And it was just a case of Eric just using that multi-MCV build just to plough on forwards. However, my team did have control of the outer islands to the very far left. You can see yellow's got control of that. And I had control of the island to the far right, and that gave us a lot of resources, and eventually the other team ran out of resources, and we were just able to defend long enough. But Eric probably played the best there. I got some help from my teammates. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video.